Hello, I'm the Greek Geek because I'm 50% Greek and 100% a geek. Now, if there's one thing that I can appreciate from watching season 8 of Game of Thrones is that I love seasons 1 to 4 even more.
Gods, I was strong then.
If you're new to my channel, I like to talk about movies and TV shows in the superhero, sci-fi, fantasy, and monster genres. I love to talk about those kind of things, and if that sounds like something you might be interested in, please consider hitting that subscribe button and hitting the notifications and liking this video, if you so feel like it. I have a lot more content like this one on the way, so stay tuned. And just be warned, this review is dark and full of spoilers, so spoiler warning going ahead. Also in this season, Jon Snow repeatedly sums up how I feel about this season.
I don't want it.
Let's start off with something positive, shall we? The acting. The acting was brilliant. Everyone, I thought, did a really good job, even with the lines of dialogue they were given. Their dialogue-wise, it's not very great, especially if you compare the last couple of seasons to the first 4. The dialogue is taken just a huge drop. But the actors aren't responsible for the dialogue they're given or the lack of variety of dialogue they're given.
You are my queen. You are my queen. She is our queen.
But I really feel for Emilia Clarke. I didn't think she was the best actress in season 1, but after all these years, I've seen her come such a long way. I think she's a really good actress now. But to see her character do this complete 180 in her character and how she behaves must have been really bad for Emilia Clarke, and to try and portray it in as little as a few episodes when that was something that should have been built up to for over 8 seasons. But she's done the best that she could with the material that she had. I can tell that she's been really disappointed with this season.
Best season ever!
Not sure if it's just me, but did you think Emilia Clarke was that great of an actress during season 1? Do you think she's developed a lot throughout the seasons? Please comment below, let me know. I'm not sure if I'm the only one on that. Direction and writing. Okay, I just want to say first of all, I'm not happy with the direction or the writing in this season. Like a lot of people, I'm not a huge fan of the writing and the direction in this season, but David Benioff and D.B. Weiss, I don't hate them. I don't hate them like a lot of people have been. They've been hating on them a lot. And it's kind of justified.
While Danny kind of forgot about the Iron Fleet and Euron's forces,
people forget that they have done a really good job in adapting George R.R. Martin's A Song of Ice and Fire books into TV. They have done a really good job of adapting it. Like, there's no denying that at all. But as soon as they ran out of the source material in the books, they just didn't really know how to take the show and what to do, really. And that's where the flaws in the show started to show. They also rushed the season. HBO offered them, I think, up to 10 seasons. They were going to let them do an extra 2 after this one to wrap up the story. But they, I think, wanted to move on to Star Wars. They just wanted to wrap this up and just jump shit. And it shows. This season is really rushed. Really, this whole season can be summed up with one sentence.
That's just lazy writing.
Character arcs have completely been thrown out the window. 7 seasons of character development and characters that were supposed to be the most intelligent people of all of Westeros, like Varys and Tyrion, are complete idiots now. Nobody knows any kind of battle tactics. Armies wait outside the walls of their cities and castles. Dothraki charge in, do a suicide charge, catapults on the front line, having your men on the front line in front of the trench, soldiers not manning the walls. I could make an entire video about the stupidity of the battle tactics in this season. There were so many other stupid things as well, like Bran / the Three-Eyed Raven becoming the king of Westeros, which really didn't make that much sense to me. Arya killed the Night King, and even though she had like no relation to the Night King at all, it was supposed to be a battle between the Night King, Jon Snow, and Bran, supposedly. And Bran didn't do anything the entire season.
I'm going to go now.
And Jon being exiled to the Night's Watch, it's just ridiculous. You don't need a Night's Watch anymore. The Night King has been defeated and the Wildings are now your allies. And there's a big hole in the wall anyway. It just doesn't make any sense this season. Another kind of positive is that the action was pretty decent with the battles and everything. It all looked pretty good. Like the Battle of Winterfell, that looked really good. even though the battle tactics didn't really make much sense. And like with the Battle of Winterfell, like all the characters have copious amounts of plot armor, like they'd be surrounded by whites and then you'd cut away from them and come back and they're fine somehow. Even though in earlier seasons that would be basically a death sentence. Also the Clegane Bowl, which was a bit disappointing. Didn't think it was that particularly choreographed, and it was just kind of absurd really with how over the top it was. Like they've got buildings crumbling around and they're trying to fight each other, and Daenerys and Drogon flying overhead shooting fire and stuff. And the Mountain getting stabbed repeatedly and then getting stabbed in the eye, like through his brain, and he was fine after that. It was just completely absurd. Oh, and the Battle of King's Landing, which lasted like 5 minutes, and then Daenerys does a complete 180 because bells ring and she burns millions of innocents. Oh, and she literally turns King's Landing into ashes. And she said she wasn't going to do that.
I am not here to be Queen of the Ashes.
Liar!
Another positive is that the music is another saving grace of this season. Well, the whole series as a whole. The music was composed by Ramin Djawadi. I'm sorry I butchered your name. I can't pronounce anything, apparently. But overall, I think he's done an amazing job with the soundtrack for this TV show. Not just this season, but the whole show. It is phenomenal. It really catches the feel of a medieval world. The sets, they've always looked amazing. They've always done a really good job with designing the sets and their layout and fitting into the world and feeling authentic. They really only expanded on King's Landing and Winterfell for the battle sequences, which was good. I enjoyed seeing more of the walls and the battlements and the defenses that they had. That was interesting, and you can tell they put so much effort into it. I imagine these sets would have been huge, like on a movie scale. And speaking of a movie scale, like the special effects now for this show, I reckon they're almost on like blockbuster movie level CGI. Like the dragons look amazing. There are some shots, the cinematography shots of like the dragons flying above the blizzard that happened during the Battle of Winterfell and Drogon destroying King's Landing. As stupid as that was, it all looked amazing. It really does set a new standard that these kind of shows have to live up to. It all looks amazing. And I really think they improve the looks of the dragons with every season. The things that I enjoyed is the acting, the special effects, the sets, the production design, cinematography and music. It all made this TV show great. This TV show as a whole, great. Couldn't save us from the writing woes of this season, but it's what we have. Basically, everything can be every problem that people have with this season can be summed down to the writing. So the writing affects basically all the characters, the plot, the story, character endings, character arcs, has been basically butchered by the writing this season. But as I said, I don't hate the writers. They did do a good job, and I feel really bad that they kind of just gave up on Game of Thrones and just threw it away instead of just handing it over to someone else to try and give this story a conclusion that it deserves. But as I said before, we've got what we've got. I really think people are going to be talking about this series for many, many years to come. It's joined the likes of Dexter and Lost with shows that started off fantastically and just dive-bombed towards the end. It's really, really sad. But anyway, that's my review on Game of Thrones Season 8. Hopefully you enjoyed it. I'm so glad that you listened to me ramble on about a TV show for a few minutes, or however long this took, post-editing. But thank you again. I do appreciate it, and I'll catch you next time.